How you doing, everybody? This is Dennis Michelson coming to you from Autobahn Country Club Speedway, Joliet, Illinois, where today we are going to have some great Autobahn member racing. Joining me here in the booth to call all of the exciting racing action. And hey, I need a driver who knows how to get around this place. And Jordan Missing, great to have you with me today. We're going to see some great Miata racing.
Well, Dennis, it's a pleasure to be here in the broadcast booth. Going to be calling alongside this race with you, doing some color content and driver analyst for you. But yes, indeed, we're going to be having some great Spec Miata member racing here on our South course here later this afternoon. You actually had the pleasure to drive around this track for the first time. Probably not the first time. I think you were been here, 10 years ago roughly, but just a little bit of a refresher on this whole place. And from a driver's standpoint, I want to ask you, what do you think of the whole place since you've been here last?
You know, Jordan, I'm a guy who can get lost in a phone booth or, get lost coming out of my driveway. So to go around a 15-turn, 2.1-mile course, the South course here at Autobahn Country Club, was a lot of fun. I'm telling you, had a Lexus out there, one of the fleet cars that the members can take out for a drive here, and it gave me a better understanding of the track. Now, I was minding my manners. I was being a good boy and staying out of trouble, but it was fun to see how the weight shifts in the corners out here, and I got to learn why they call patience patience.
Yep, it has its name for a reason, and you got to have the patience in order to be able to take patience successfully, which hopefully these 16 drivers here in the Spec Miata racing field that we're going to have here in just a few moments hopefully be able to navigate properly here, and the ones who are going to be able to navigate for the top spot here today. But like you mentioned, you were kind of trying to be a good boy. Slight clouds in the sky, but nonetheless, blue skies and a very hot temperature atmosphere that we're dealing out there. These tires are going to get hot. They're going to get inflated with the high tire pressures, especially in the long distance of this race. We're talking 22 laps here, so you're looking at potentially 30-plus minutes of a race that's going to happen, and where these tire pressures start, they're definitely going to be potentially 10 psi up on where they're going to be at the end. So hopefully these drivers did their homework over the course of the morning and take into account of how the tire pressures and how fast they're going to rise up in temperature.
Big thanks to our sponsors, Race Caddy. They're the official sponsor for the Spec class, and then First Bank Card, sponsors of our SM2 class. And boy, we got a big field there with 25 cars. Both races today will be 22 laps. And I love Spec Miata racing because the cars are as equal as you're ever going to get cars in auto racing. And that puts it on the drivers. But these cars punish bad driving because if you are... It takes a while to get that momentum back up. This is a momentum car. Rewards patient and good driving and penalizes you if you get a little too eager.
Yeah, when you're talking about a Spec Miata car, now obviously, it's one of our bread and butters here at the club of Autobahn Country Club with almost 300 of these Spec Miata cars on property. And as you're going to see later this afternoon, we're over 40 cars in the entry list today. But a very beginner-esque type car that we try to push new members that kind of come into the club as well. But we also, it's very affordable, very cost-effective to be able to run these cars. And people just enjoy them because of how, one, they can be the drive, but two, they are a little bit of a challenge to drive these cars. So you're all right. These are very penalizing, and with the amount of horsepower that they provide, only let's say 180 horsepower, you're not getting on the loud pedal very loudly, I would say, but you're also not dealing with a lot of torque and a lot of horsepower that's coming into the rear wheels. So being a perfectionist is a really big deal. And with the amount of momentum and weight that you are throwing around in these cars, you get your one corner wrong, or you kind of go offline just a little bit, you're losing a couple of tenths. And what that can turn into, positions on the racetrack or a bad run out of a corner leading into the next one.
And when you're driving these Spec Miatas, it reminds me of, playing a game of chess. You have to think ahead.
Yep.
You have to plan maybe 2-3 corners ahead to make that move, to make a successful pass in these cars. And if you can kind of just outsmart your other guy, that you're behind, you can kind of force them into mistakes too out here. So easy.
It definitely turns into a chess match, and you know how to know your competitors, know your opponents, know where their weaknesses are, know where their strengths are going to play into your advantage on how overtakes are made. Now, obviously, with cars that are less horsepower like these, they do have the ability to draft up and get a little bit of a slipstream effect on each other. Does that affect a pass, and does that make a pass much more greater to happen? Yes, absolutely. But how do you counteract that pass from a driver standpoint is going to be the key aspect on how some of these guys are going to be able to keep their positions and how they're going to stay within the fight. As we see now, the cars are rolling on their 2 pace laps. Some of them starting to weave back and forth, get some tires clean off, and get some temperature into these tires. It's the first of 2 pace laps that these guys are going to be running. But we've talked about a little bit on how these guys are going to think methodically. I mean, with Spec Miata racing, you've always mentioned lots of single file running, lots of, do I make the move now? Do I wait for the next corner? It's almost treated like a go-kart race. And in go-karts, it typically comes down to the driver. So it's basically a big go-kart race, just racing cars and bigger toys.
Let's set the lineup for you. All going behind that beautiful Lexus pace car right now. On the front row, Taro Kushida will be on the pole position with Matt Alexander. Row 2, Gavin Gleitzman and Sam Bowman. Sam will be carrying our in-car camera, so we're going to see some great shots from P4. In row 3, Jake Malter and Josh Dale. Row 4, Ethan Taylor and Mike Ryan. Row 5, Dave Hicks and Jackson Wolney.
Wolney was going to be the second rookie in the field that we had, and he had a little bit of a 2 grid spot penalty just from a late sign-up. So potentially could have been qualified P8, but the 2 grid spot penalty is going to move him back to the 10th spot. We'll move on to row 6. Greg Sword, the number 71 machine, will roll off in 11th with Scott Bowman alongside him in the P12 spot. Scott Ballard in the 190 is going to roll off 13th with Kevin Lockridge next to him in 14th. And then rounding out the field in row number 8 is going to be Art Sizemore and Indy 500 legend Tom Bagley rolling off P16.
Got a chance to talk to Tom after the drivers' meeting, and what a nice man, nice young man still. You stay young at heart when you're racing, but it's great to see Tom still out here enjoying racing. I think he's, just recently celebrated another 29th birthday. So
29 times 3 for that matter, or even times 4 for that matter. But it was interesting is you mentioned the age gap in between the field. We'll talk about that here real quick. Sam Bowman, who's qualified P4, is one of the rookies that are in the SM field. I believe it's his first race in the Spec Miata class as well. He graduated from karts as our Audubon Young Driver Academy winner. He raced up here last year in Spec Miata 2, was able to kind of go on to win the championship in that series, and then actually moved on to now race in Spec Miata for his very first start, and he's qualified P4. He's got our onboard camera for today, so it'll be interesting to watch young Sam, who doesn't even have a driver's license yet, going up against 84-year-old Tom Bagley, who's going to be starting a little bit further in the field. So lots of age difference and age gaps here, but that's the glory of Spec Miata racing here at the Audubon, is it doesn't matter from a car standpoint. It doesn't matter how old you are behind the wheel. As long as you can wheel and dig it, you're going to take it.
Going to be an exciting race. We're going to go 22 laps. And I like the longer format here today. And I like the standalone races. When you get so many cars out there in the 2 classes, it sometimes gets a little jumbled up. These guys will stay in class here today, just the single class racing. And boy, oh boy, the qualifying lap times were pretty close. We had almost the entire field within a second and a half around here. That's pretty stout qualifying, and we had about 7 drivers within a half a second of each other.
You're talking about the top 10 all within 1 second of each other. Nonetheless, the top 6 rather, all within about a half a second of each other. So the competition is fierce, it's close, competitive, and tight. And I was just mentioning too to one of our racer stewards as well earlier today, we have 6 guys that are in front of a MX-5 driver right now, a guy who goes out to race professionally, I would even say, out in the real world. So the fact that we have guys who are out there racing against guys who are actively racing on the pro circuit and on the pro tour shows how competitive and how fierce the competition here is at Audubon Country Club.
And if you want to find out more about the Audubon Country Club, head over to AudubonCC.com. Find out about becoming a member out here. And here's the great thing. Whether you're a veteran racer or you're just brand spanking new.
Yep.
They've got a driver academy that can turn you into a race car driver, too. And, hey, Tom Bagley didn't start racing Indy cars until he was in his 30s, so it's never too old. You're never too old to give it a start here at the Audubon Country Club.
Field is lined up 2 by 2. Look at that formation. It is perfect with the sun gleaming on all of our Spec Miatas, all 16 of them, as they round the final corners of turn 13 and 14. The pace car going to head into the safety of pit lane, and the field is now in the hands of Taro Kishida and Matt Alexander as they come to green.
Green flag at hand, waiting for the flag man to set them loose, and there they go. Taro Kishida and Matt Alexander side by side will head on down into turn 1.
A little bit of four-wide action for the bat there. You saw the 26 of Scott Bowman and the 190 of Scott Ballard. The two Scotts kind of diving out of line there, trying to make something happen of it. Up at the front, though, Kushida gets away very cleanly. Matt Alexander under pressure from Gavin Gleitzman, who's going to go ahead and take up that second spot. Ballard drops 2 wheels at the exit of turn number 4. He'll lose a spot or 2 going into turn number 4, but Kushida away clean and green so far with Gleitzman on the back end of Taro Kushida as they come through turn number 5.
Gleitzman has been very racy so far in this season. He is 3rd in points, and this is race 5 in the championship.
We look further back. It's the first side-by-side battle. The inside of the 08 of Ethan Tyler as they're going to come into turn number 8 right now. Greg Sorg dipping a nose to the inside of Scott Bowman as they come through turn number 8. They'll continue side-by-side action as they head into patience for the very first time. Give the spot to Greg Sorg as he's going to kind of clear over the bumper of Scott Bowman.
Down that long back stretch for the first time, and Taro Kishida on top, but Matt Alexander right in his wake. And that is a tough 1-2 punch there as they head on into the corners. And my goodness, Taro Kishida was able to hold off Alexander again, and he will come down to be your leader after lap 1.
Ethan Tyler was able to kind of clear the number 69 of Jake Malter, so that battle for 5th has kind of dissipated a little bit from the top 4. The top 4 do get away just ever so slightly. It is Kushida, Gleitzman, Matt Alexander, and Sam Bowman, the top 4, before you go back to the side-by-side battle and the battle for 5th between Ethan Tyler and Jake Malter.
Some good racing back in the pack up front. It's Taro Kishida, Gavin Gleitzman in second, Matt Alexander, Sam Bowman, Ethan Taylor, Jake Malter, Mike Ryan, Dave Hicks, Josh Dale, and Scott Bowman rounded out your top 10.
A little bit further back there, looking around the 13th spot, Kevin Lockridge was taking a peek to the inside of Jackson Wolney going into turn number 4, but thought better of it. He'll tuck back in line. Wolney right now, his first start in the SM field as well. He's trying to kind of get the works in and trying to find out what it's like to be racing against some of the top guns here at Audubon Country Club.
Gleitzman trying to get back there right on the bumper of Taro Kishida, but Kishida has been able to handle that in about a 2-car length lead. Gleitzman pulling away from Matt Alexander in 3rd.
We talked about the 4-car breakaway that was kind of starting up at the beginning of this lap. Well, that now is gone, and you can now see that both Taro Kishida and Gavin Gleitzman have pulled away just ever so slightly from Matt Alexander, but he's under pressure from Sam Bowman, and you can now add Ethan Tyler to the mix, and he's bringing Jake Malter along with them for a 4-car way battle for 3rd.
Jordan, when you're driving out here at the Audubon Country Club in traffic, how much does that what's in the mirror affect your lap times?
You want to try not to look in the mirror as much as you can. You want to be able to keep, full focus and eyes forward out that windshield and be able to kind of see what's happening in front of you as we see an inside move being played from Josh Dale on the 25 of Dave Hicks there. He'll take that spot and complete it, move him up to 8th spot. But going back to it, you want to try to keep your focus out the windshield so that way you're not making any mistakes. But it's hard to not look at the rear view mirror of the guy who's behind you when you come out of each corner. So for me specifically, I try to look at, complete the corner, and then as soon as you get to the corner exit, check your mirror a little bit, see if the guy's got a good run on you, or if he's going to be, you're going to be clear of him down that straightaway to the next corner.
Taro Kishida continuing to lead the way, but back in the pack, Ethan Tyler just put up the fastest lap of the race in lap 2 in 5th place, and he has closed up on the back end of that top 4.
Ethan Tyler was one of my picks I was going to say for pole position here today, but just did not have the pace in qualifying, and that's not saying much here. He was about a half a second off of Taro Kishida's pole time, but that car has kind of come to life here in the early stages of this race. He kind of fell back a little bit in the battle with Jake Malter, but he was able to close back up to this 4-car battle that's now turned into a 6-car battle for the lead, and he's hanging pretty tough right on the back end of Sam Bowman. Was very aggressive there on the brakes going into turn 11, was able to close right back up to him, and now there's line of stern coming through 13. A little bit more shuffling further back there as it looked like the number 02 of Josh Dale lost the spot. 2, I believe it was the number 120 of Mike Ryan, but that's caused now a little bit of a stack up further back as you see Dave Hicks and Scott Bowman going to battle. Bowman going to take a look to the inside as they go into turn number 1. You can potentially give the spot to Scott Bowman. Now he's got it. Bowman's going to move up a spot. He goes up to 9th. Now it's Greg Sorg who's going on to the back end on the attack of Dave Hicks through turn number 3.
That whole sequence of turns there from 1 to 4, such a good rhythm you get into. If you hit one perfectly, you just roll through the rest of the corners.
You'd be surprised on how much time you can actually gain in that corner alone, but let alone the lap and how it affects the momentum of the rest of the lap by just nailing that 1, 2, 3 complex. It could set the tone for your lap, and it just starts to generate the momentum throughout the course of that lap, and you could be surprised at what kind of lap time you could put up when you come back to the start-finish line.
Up front, Taro Kishida continuing to lead the way with Gavin Gleitzman in second.
Oh, there's contact right there. That's Greg Sorg who gets into the back of Dave Hicks. Dave Hicks goes spinning. Sorg kind of gets a little bit of contact as well. That's also the 4 of Kevin Lockridge who kind of gets caught up in it as well. Big damage to the rear end of Dave Hicks and to the front end of him as well. Just gets turned a little bit off of the front end of Greg Sorg, and Sorg really trying to be a little optimistic going into turn number 8 there. Just kind of clips the right rear of David Hicks and kind of sends him spinning. A very easy mistake to be able to be made in the entry of turn number 8.
Big contact and big damage to several cars from that incident.
We have gone full course yellow because of that. There is a big piece of debris that's kind of caught in the middle of the track there, a big part of the back bumper to Dave Hicks's machine. So both cars have been able to kind of get away. Dave Hicks is rolling as well as Kevin Lockridge. Big damage to the back end of that car, but just a very, very unfortunate mistake made by the 71 of Greg Sorg in that sense to get into the back end of Dave Hicks and send him spinning.
We'll have 5 laps on the board when they come around here to the start-finish. Taro Kishida continuing to lead Gavin Gleitzman in second place. Matt Alexander in third. It's Sam Bowman, Ethan Tyler, Jake Malter, Mike Ryan, Josh Dale, Scott Bowman, and Jackson Wolney rounding out your top 10 after lap 4.
So far, in the first 5 laps, we saw lots of great moves. I was just being told in that sense, but once you kind of get into the optimistic time to want to make that pass there, you try to go for it as much as you can, and you try to see if you can get all you can get and see if you can just stick a nose to the inside there to make a move happen. But unfortunately, in the case of Dave Hicks in this sense, it just did not work out for him.
Well, Jordan, while we have a break in the action, want to catch people up on some of the great things going on around here at the Audubon Country Club. Hey, if you want to stay on the premises like I did last night, oh, what a nice time over there in the race house. It saved me a couple hours drive either way because I was up in the Chicagoland area, and very gracious to extend that courtesy to me. But you can stay here at the race house. Audubon has its very own Airbnb, and it is perfect, folks. Stay the night trackside in the race house, which offers 3 private bedrooms and with their own bathrooms. It's got a great lounge area for great socializing and a deck with a great view of the North Circuit. Call Aaron for more details. You're going to like that. Oh, that 25 car is awfully used up.
Yeah, and I'm sure, the lounge area up there in that race house was probably definitely used by yours truly right up there late last night. It's such a good atmosphere to just kind of be able to hang out after either a long day at the track, being on track, driving around, or if you're coming in for the next day's events to go on track and drive or be partaking in the next day's events. The race house definitely is a great place to just kind of unwind, hang out, catch a night a little bit. Plus, with the atmosphere and the scenic sense of what we have here at the Audubon Country Club, you get some nice, beautiful sunsets, some calm nights, and with the weather as it is right now lately, it's just some peaceful atmosphere.
The pool table might keep me from getting any work done, though, later on tonight when we get back from the big party. It's going to be a great time out here at the Audubon Country Club, but I'm looking forward to another peaceful night's sleep at the race house. Also, just to remind you folks, this is not just a racetrack. Audubon Country Club is a fully outfitted event venue featuring exciting ride and drive programs, comfortable meeting and exhibition space, a challenging kart track. I got to get out there on that, try that kart track myself someday. A talented hospitality team. I'm telling you, folks, everybody here treats you great, and they're ready to make your event a winner, and top-notch cuisine to go with it. You can contact Ron for more information, and this is why a lot of folks become members out here. So it's a great way to entertain customers.
Absolutely. We've seen a ton of corporate events that have happened out here, some business days, some Christmas parties even happen out here towards the late months of October, or even we had some Christmas parties that are from last year that continue to happen out here throughout the course of our summer month season. But you mentioned you want to get on that kart track. It is a state-of-the-art kart track facility, and trust me, once you get on it for that first time, it is definitely something that you do not want to get off. You're actually upset that your time is done when the checkered flag is thrown.
That looks like a lot of fun, and that's not just, little have fun course. That is a real race course, and I know you mentioned earlier that some of the younger racers here in our Spec Miata races today started on the kart course.
Absolutely, they did. And, like we mentioned, there's a big rivalry that was from the kart track that has now transitioned over to the big track. We see it between the number 51 of Gavin Gleitzman and the 33 of Sam Bowman, was fierce rivals and competitors at the kart track, and it has now been brought over to the main track here, and we're about to witness that battle happen here in a moment.
We'll have 16 laps to go. The pace car on pit lane, and Taro Kishida will lead them to the green.
2 cars that just pulled into pit road. It's the number 51 of Gavin Gleitzman, what we just talked about, and I believe the 131 of Jackson Wolney has also pulled into pit road as we are back racing under the green flag conditions. The field is going through 1 and 2 as we speak. Kishida leads the field nice and firmly as they come through turn number 2 and into turn number 3 with Alexander and Sam Bowman right behind him, line astern.
Getting a great view of this action from that in-car with Sam Bowman from 3rd place.
We see now a little bit further back there, Greg Sorg, who got caught up in that incident a little bit earlier that just brought us under the yellow flag. He had to kind of start at the back of the field on this restart. He picks up a place passing Tom Bagley in the number for the 11th spot there. The first side-by-side battle, though, is between the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th spot. I believe it's Sam Bowman and Ethan Tyler as they go through turn number 7.
And we're going to get a great look at that on the on-car camera. Here with Sam Bowman giving up 3rd place again, and now he's got trouble on the inside of him. Boy, you get into a battle out here, and they can gang up on you from behind.
Yeah, you definitely kind of fall into like a snowball effect here on the back foot as we saw Ethan Tyler make the pass. Malter now squeezed his way through. Now Malter able to use the power of the Spec Miata motor and run out of turn number 10 down the back straightaway. He clears him. Now Bowman going to use the slipstream effect from Jake Malter to go to the inside of Ethan Tyler. And we come here, big move into the inside. Bowman trying to get a lot out of it as he could. Overcooks the brakes just just a little bit, loses the rear end of the car. Looks like he might have gotten into the side of Ethan Tyler there as he went off course, or Ethan Tyler doing a decent job of avoiding action. Nonetheless, it kind of hurts his race a little bit as now he's off the track further back in the pack, and a big stack up here as we're going now side by side for the 4th spot.
Taro Kishida up front continues to lead the way. Matt Alexander in second, and those two have gotten away from third place Jake Malter. Back and forth is Mike Ryan with Josh Dale rounding out your top 5.
Malter has now moved up into the 3rd spot there, as we saw going down the back straightaway, but the battle for the biggest battle on track now falls in a little bit further back, and that's for that 4th spot. Josh Dale in the 02 car that used to be the Sean Varwick car for those Autobahn viewers that have been with us for quite some time. Yes, that is the same car that Sean Varwick raced a couple years ago. Josh Dale is now in behind that mobile and that machine. He runs in the 4th spot, but he's got a mirror full of Scott Bowman all over the back end of him.
And up front getting racy is Matt Alexander trying to put a move on Taro Kishida, but Kishida will continue to lead the way.
Big sideways moment there from the 120 of Mike Ryan, dipping 2 tires into the grass at the exit of turn 7 to one of the fastest points on this circuit here. He had to use all of his Autobahn Country Club driver skill there to hang on to that car, and he does a really good job, doesn't lose any positions with it, but puts on a nice little sideshow for all of us and kind of stacks up the field a little bit further back.
It's amazing to me how you get just 2 or 3 of these cars in a pack, and they get up quite some speed and gain on that group that's just 1 or 2 guys racing side by side ahead of them.
Ballard was able to kind of pick up another spot as well, so move Scott Ballard up a spot in the back to that 7th position, I believe. He got by the 15 of Art Zeismer, who's having a pretty good run. Zeismer started from the very back of the field in the 15th position for car number 15. He's moved up now to the 8th position on track, so Art Zeismer having a really good run here this afternoon.
As we ride along with 10th placed Sam Bowman, it is traffic jam city. It kind of reminded me of being on the Dan Ryan last night.
Well, when you're in the pack like that, your line of stern, 3 or 4 cars deep, you're just trying the best you can to not trip over each other and not run into the back of the guy behind you, because you don't know what the guy in front of you 2 or 3 cars ahead of you is doing, but you're just kind of focusing on what the guy in front of you is doing and not run to the back of him. Sam Bowman now is we're on board with, really all over the back, putting the pressure on Greg Sorg as they come out of turn number 6, and Sorg might go on the offensive run here on Art Zeismer.
We're getting our money's worth out of this in-car camera today. Sam Bowman putting out a show, and he'll try to make his move underneath the 15 of Art Zeismer.
Zeismer now going to try to hold on to the fort that he has built so far. He's able to kind of hold the spot for now, but Bowman going to get a little bit of a run out of the corner. He's also going to get a little bit of slipstream effect from Greg Sorg. Sorg put on a nice move going into turn number 8 this time. He'll bait the pass. Bowman's going to clear Art Zeismer going into 11. Ethan Tyler also clears the back end of Tom Bagley. So now you're starting to see Sam Bowman and Ethan Tyler, who were caught up in that incident a couple laps ago, starting to move their way back up towards the front.
9 laps on the board. Taro Kishida continues to lead the way, but Matt Alexander quickly on his tail. Jake Malter in 3rd. Josh Dale 4th. Scott Bowman 5th. Farther back, Mike Ryan, Scott Ballard, Greg Sorg, Sam Bowman, and Art Zeismer rounded out your top 10 after lap 9.
Jake Malter right now has just put in his fastest lap of the race, a 139.1, but that was 2 to 3 tenths faster than our leaders of Taro Kishida and Matt Alexander. They're both running 139.3s and 39.4s, so Malter now starting to close in that gap. It's about 1.4 seconds to Taro Kishida, 1.2 to the back end of Matt Alexander.
It's amazing how you get a little space from that pack and you can put that best time on the board very easily out here on the South Course here at Autobahn Country Club.
We've had also Josh Dale, Scott Bowman, Mike Ryan, the guys who are running 4th, 5th, and 6th, all posting their fastest laps that last lap as well. So the whole rest of the field is starting to kind of push themselves as we're starting to kind of make it to the halfway point of this race. We're 2 laps away from halfway.
Still have 10 cars running within 10 seconds of the leader. It's hard to get away out here at Autobahn with these Spec Miatas up front. Taro Kishida continues to lead the way, but we've got a nice little 3-car pack now up front.
Jake Malter is now, I believe, starting to realize that he is looking potentially at a podium, potentially at his first chance to a race win. He's got himself the best shot he's ever been in right now with the 2 champions of Taro Kishida and Matt Alexander, the 2 multi-time champions, battling it out between the two. But Jake's got to know now he's got the faster car between them two, as he's able to pull up the fastest lap of the race by doing a 38.9. That's about half a second faster than the last lap that they both turned in front of him.
He's second in points right now after the first 4 races of the season. And the points leader, Brandon Collins, is not here today. So I know it's early, but Malter looking to get into another podium finish could put him at the top of the leaderboard for the season.
We just see the Sam Bowman now make a very aggressive move to the inside of Greg Sorve, completes the pass. He'll move up another spot. That puts him up to the 8th position. But you were mentioning Brandon Collins is not here today, and that's the beauty of what this championship here at Audubon Country Club is about. Even though we do, let's say, 12 to 14 races out of the whole year, doesn't mean you have to make it to every single one of them. We have a system to where you have 3 to 4 races where you can use as drops to be able to kind of, if you need to not be here for a race weekend or you have some other obligation, we all know life gets in the way sometimes. But the good news is you're referred, everyone gets about 3 to 4 drops. So if you do have a bad race and you do make all 14 races, you could substitute those races with good finishes that you produce throughout the season.
Something's more important than racing?
I know, right? Sometimes. But, as we all say, life gets in the way. As Greg Sorg decides that the grass seems to be a little bit more important than the track and takes to it, dipping 2 tires off at the exit of turn number 11 into turn 12. But he's able to kind of contest the spot a little bit, but the experience of Ethan Tyler was able to get around him, and he moves up another spot.
Our field got the cross flags this time by Taro Kishida leading the way at halftime. Matt Alexander second, Jake Malter in third, and those 3 cars have gotten a nice 4.5 second gap on 4th place.
Josh Dale right now sits currently in the 4th spot right now, a little bit further back, but he's got a mirror full of Scott Bowman. Bowman hasn't really raced around here that much all this year. He's been really, honestly, taking the dad role, I would say, of taking his son Samuel Bowman to all these hockey games that they haven't been out on track at all much this year. But he's picking up right where he left off, like he's just like riding a bike and is back into the fray of battling with all these guys in the Spec Miata field like he's been used to. He's going to try to go to work on the back end of Josh Dale in that 02 car.
Taro Kishida up front, Matt Alexander and Jake Malter 1, 2, 3. Real tight racing up front. Then the next pack in 4th through 6th. It's kind of cool how these Spec Miatas can kind of sort themselves out into these little groups.
They definitely do kind of space themselves out into little groups, and that's kind of sometimes based off the battles that they're going into or based off the flat time. And we also talk about fatigue too. It's very hot out here today. Long race of 22 laps. I already heard one guy in the drivers' meeting asking if we could reduce the number of lap counts in the race, just because of what we were going to be experiencing today and how hot it was going to be. But I think that also adds another element to what this race is going to be like. So we might see some comers and goers throughout the course of this race. As we just mentioned too, Jake Malter was posting fastest laps. Taro Kishida and Matt Alexander now go a little bit faster, but Ethan Tyler has just popped in the fastest lap of the race.
I'm amazed that we can see so many racers post their best time in the 139s out here today.
Well, not only
this
in the
class is even.
Not only in the 139s, but halfway through this race, we're used to seeing cars posting their fastest laps on lap 3 or 4 when the tires are brand new, fresh, and not heat cycled. But as the tires are starting to heat up and get more and more into this race and the pressure starts to build, the tires and the cars are generally going faster. Yeah, you're getting some fuel burn and the cars are getting lighter, but the times continue to drop, are getting faster and faster, and we're still got 10 laps to go in this race. So which cars are going to be able to last the rest of the race and which cars are going to fall off, as Sam Bowman now goes to the inside, picking up a move on the 190 of Scott Ballard, move him up to the 7th position.
We got to see it with the on-car camera. Every time we switch to the in-car camera, Sam's picking up a space. He's going to want us to be showing that more and more. But you're right, Ethan Tyler just set his fast time of the race here and the best in the field and that's in lap 12. So pretty impressive that these cars are continuing to get pretty racy out here at Audubon today.
Continue on the progress of Sam Bowman and Ethan Tyler. As we watched earlier in the race, they did go off track a little bit in the exit of turn number 11 into turn 12. The progress continues to be made. They're coming across the start-finish line right now. Right now, both cars, I'd say, roughly about 10 seconds off the leader of Taro Kishida, so they're going to need a little bit of help if they're going to want to get themselves back into this thing, but they are catching up to the rest of the field in that three-car battle that's in front of them of 4th, 5th, and 6th, Josh Dale, Scott Bowman, and Mike Ryan.
Your top three still nose to tail, Taro Kishida, Matt Alexander, and Jake Malter as we ride around with Sam Bowman again.
And that's what these top three are doing right now. They know they got themselves a long way to go in this race. And, they got themselves some of them have lap counters in them. Others are just kind of clicking and logging laps as of now. But Taro Kishida, Matt Alexander, they are kind of two experienced guys. They know they're going to wait it out until they get closer and closer to the end, or if the opportunity is right to make a move. Jake Maltzer, on the other hand, I think he's just right now trying to go to school a little bit, trying to figure out where he seems to be a little bit faster than the two cars in front of him and find out how can he make a move happen so when the time comes and the dinner bell is ringing to go make your move, he's able to make it confidently with ease.
Jake Malter certainly is getting quite quick through the first half of the course, but then when they get to this long back stretch and this very tough little set of turns off that back stretch, he seems to lose a little pace to Matt Alexander in second.
Well, we just had a really good shot from the drone, via the drone there going into turn 11, on how aggressive and hard Jake Malter is being on the brakes, able to close down the time a little bit and able to close down on the gap to Matt Alexander. So Malter now knowing that he could be a little bit more aggressive on the brakes, a little bit more, I would say, deeper on the brakes and better on this brake pressure. So potentially could see a move be made from Jake Malter into the brake zone of turn 11 if he could get a good run and successfully navigate the exit of turn 10.
It almost seemed like he got a little too tight with Matt Alexander,
yep.
And it kept him from making the best corner he could. But now he's right back on that back panel and giving him a good go there as we head back around through patience.
We've missed it a little bit there, but Scott Bowman was able to get by the 0-2 of Josh Dale, so move Scott Bowman up to the 4th spot. Meanwhile, the son of Scott Bowman, Sam Bowman, and Ethan Tyler, as you can see back part of the screen, are starting to close their way in. They're just at about 10 seconds from the race leaders, but closing in on that battle for 4th between Bowman, Josh Dale, and Mike Ryan.
Up front, Taro Kishida, Matt Alexander, Jake Malter, 1, 2, 3 down this long back stretch once again.
All three cars fairly evenly stretched apart right now, and as we mentioned, they're all kind of just logging laps as it is, but I noticed a little bit of a mistake by Matt Alexander. Wasn't much, but just a little bit of a mistake there, so potentially some fatigue is now starting to come into play on some of these drivers given the hot weather conditions and the length of the race.
When you're out there lap after lap, nose to tail, does that start to wear on you as a driver? Because I noticed Scott Bowman's putting some good laps up now that he's at the front of the train, that second train of cars.
Well, the good news is, like, when you're passing somebody, like, for instance, Scott Bowman gets by Josh Dale, and now he's got a little bit of clean air in front of him. Yeah, you sometimes feel like you get restricted by the guy in front of you, especially if you're able to make that pass, so you kind of can now just drive at your own pace and kind of drive away from somebody. I've had the experience of that where I've gone behind somebody and I feel like I'm definitely faster than them, but have had their pace kind of slow me down, slow my lap times down, but as soon as they get out of the way in front of me, or if I pass them, my speed picks right back up to where my pace normally is, and you can definitely feel a difference. You can see a difference in the car, and you can see a difference on the stopwatch from a lap times perspective. But in the case of Scott Bowman, once you get past that one competitor, it's eyes forward, focus forward, and know how to drive your car the way you want to drive it, because if you start focusing on the driver that's right behind you, you're going to start making mistakes, and that guy's not going to go away, and you're going to wonder, how can I not get away from this guy? I want to go catch the guys in front of me, but if you're too focused on the guy behind you and not the guys in front of you, he's going to be right there with you the entire time.
Kishida and Alexander had kind of snuck away from Jake Malter, but now Jake Malter reels him back in tighter. That front 3 is putting on a good show up front.
Well, I just saw right there, Taro Kishida was able to pull a little bit of a gap there from Matt Alexander, and I saw Taro Kishida kind of pull away there, but Matt Alexander was able to kind of run the course as he normally was, but Jake Malter made him a little bit of a mistake coming out of turn 11, and it's cost him quite a bit of time there as they come across the start-finish line to complete another lap.
Kishida with a 0.7 of a second advantage here with 6 to go. Matt Alexander in second, and now they have gotten almost away by 2 seconds ahead of Jake Malter in third. Scott Bowman fourth, Josh Dale, Mike Ryan, Sam Bowman in 7th place, and then Ethan Tyler, Scott Ballard, and Greg Sorg rounding out your top 10. And we still have 12 cars in the battle, all on the lead lap.
Yeah, right now Jackson Wolney, that's currently been in 13th. Gavin Glight's been 14th. Kevin Lockridge sitting at 15th. And Dave Hicks rounding out the Kevin Lockridge sitting at 15th, and Dave Hicks rounding out the 16th spot. All those 4 cars have retired from the race back on lap 6, and those are going to be their finishing positions from today's race.
Meanwhile, back up front, Taro Kishida finally enjoying a little bit of a gap, but now Matt Alexander starting to try to reel him in, but they have snuck away by quite a bit from Jake Malter in third.
You know, Matt Alexander has now just proven to Taro Kishida that even though he had a little bit of a gap, he's able to close right back up to the back end of Taro Kishida. Now it just comes down to where is Matt Alexander faster, and can he time up his run good enough to where he can be able to get enough momentum to go on by the number 60 of our race leader, Taro Kishida.
Now as those two up front start the battle, Jake Malter might be able to take advantage as we see Matt Alexander trying to get into the fresh air and trying to make a move on Kishida, but he'll fall back in line.
Further back, a little bit of a juggernaut battle between Ethan Tyler and Sam Bowman. We go on board with Sam Bowman there. Ethan made a nice move to the inside of Sam Bowman into the entrance of 13 that was able to make the pass stick. Now Ethan Tyler will try to set his sights forward and go catch Mike Ryan in the 120 for the 6th spot.
We're getting a great lesson on how to get around here fast in a Miata, driving along with Sam Bowman. Up front, Taro Kishida and Matt Alexander. Matt Alexander has reeled him back in, and it's only about a 3-car length advantage.
Alexander was able to post his fastest lap of the race there as Ethan Tyler drops 2 wheels at the exit of turn number 5. That's one place where you don't really want to go very wide, as we've seen lots of cars have a little bit of misfortune there. Luckily enough, Ethan Tyler, with his experience, was able to kind of get away with it unscathed, was able to drive off, hold the position on, and we're on board with Sam Bowman, who is trying to take the fight to Ethan Tyler.
Sam Bowman starting to get very annoying to Ethan Tyler, just all over his back, but racing him clean here.
Well, I think Sam is now starting to think about maybe if I can help Ethan Tyler just a little bit here, give him a couple pushes. There's one right there onto the back bumper of Ethan Tyler as we go down the back straightaway. It's going to help these two try to make it run up to the top 4, 5, and 6 right there and go catch those pack of cars that's directly ahead in front of them.
Meanwhile, up front, Taro Kishida continues to lead the way. We'll have 4 laps to go here as they come back through the start-finish. Matt Alexander in second place, just 0.4 of a second. Then it's another second and 0.2. Back to Jake Malter in third, Scott Bowman fourth, Josh Dale in fifth.
Malter is going to need to start chipping away at that gap in front of him if he's going to want a shot at this race win. He's currently sitting in the 3rd spot, which is the podium position, but he's going to need to knock off a couple more tenths of what he was doing last lap. He was only a tenth faster than Taro Kishida this last time by, and with a 1.2 second gap up to Matt Alexander, another tenth or two is going to be needed here by this next lap for young Jake Malter to go catch the top 2.
And back in the pack, Sam Bowman, as you saw, continuing to be right on the tail of Ethan Tyler. Man, that is a close battle, and that is the battle for 7th.
I can see Sam giving a couple more pushes and maybe one more lap here to Ethan Tyler to kind of get the giddy up on him here. But if you don't see any progression being made, I can expect Sam Bowman to potentially lose his patience here and start to make the move on Ethan Tyler to go catch those 3 cars in front of him. But the progress has been good. Ethan Tyler has been closing in on the 120 of Mike Ryan. Could we expect to see a move potentially going into turn number 1 this great time by?
This time by up front, Taro Kishida continuing to hold the lead. Back in the pack, we're right along with Sam Bowman again for 7th place.
Sam Bowman potentially all over the back end of Ethan Tyler, closes the gap up quite a bit. Ethan Tyler has now closed the gap up tremendously to the back end of Mike Ryan there. But as the cars come flashing across the start-finish line now, Kishida with the lead. Alexander now swings the car to the outside, trying to take the normal racing line on turn number 1, just trying as he can to fill the mirrors up of Taro Kishida, trying to take a little bit of this focus away from Kishida and try to get him to look in his mirrors.
And Jake Malter in 3rd place had gnawed about 8/10 off of that gap and is back into the racing picture. He's about a second back in 3rd place.
I said he was going to need to chop off 2 or 3 tenths. He goes ahead and knocks off about 8 tenths to close the gap up to now make it almost a 3-car battle. Still has a little bit more work to be done in order to catch that battle. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, Ethan Tyler and Samuel Bowman have caught up to the back end of Mike Ryan entering turn 6.
And 4th and 5th is getting to be a race. Scott Bowman has 4th. Josh Dale wants it. He is closing ground. But up front, we have a 3-car train again as Jake Malter has almost caught the back end of that twosome of Kishida and Alexander.
Ethan Tyler is now strategically playing the waiting game right here as he thought about going to the inside of turn number 8. Bowman was expecting him to do it. He was all over the back end of Ethan Tyler now. But as they come on to turn number 10, can we expect the move from Ethan Tyler this time by?
Great racing out here at the Audubon Country Club. We expected a great race with how tight this field was, and we are getting it once again. There'll only be 2 laps left when they come back to the start-finish line this time.
Ethan tried it. He went to the inside of Mike Ryan. Wasn't able to make it stick. Did not pull up alongside him. Bowman now going to try to seize the opportunity on the outside. Thinks better of it. Falls back in line behind Ethan Tyler. Will have to regroup. And now I feel like the two drivers of Ethan Tyler and Samuel Bowman are either going to get by Mike Ryan or going to slug it out between the two.
All kinds of great racing throughout the pack, and our crew doing a great job of bouncing back and forth between all of the great racing action. Up front, you got Kishida, Alexander, and Malter. Then you got Bowman and Dale. Then you got Ryan, Tyler, and Bowman. Boy, oh boy, it's getting racy out here at Audubon.
Malter has now caught up to the top 2 of Kishida and Alexander, so you can add his name into the list of contenders going for this win. Malter now just trying to maybe wait a little bit longer to see if he can force Alexander to make a move and stir the pot up a little bit to get the twos to start racing each other.
Time is running out here in the Spec Miata class. Taro Kishida has led the way, but he has had Matt Alexander and Jake Malter right on his tail all race long. And when they come back down around this long back stretch and through these final corners, they'll be seeing the white flag this time by.
Kishida does a really nice job getting a good exit out of turn number 10, pulls about 2 to 3 car lengths away from Matt Alexander. A big lock up there from the 08 of Ethan Tyler into turn 11 that allows Bowman to get onto his back end as they go through 13. Kishida able to get a good drive out of 10, allows Alexander to get back up to him, but it just pulls enough of a gap out the exit of turn 10 to where defense is not needed, nor gives Alexander a chance to make a move.
Kishida has had his way out here all race long, but it has not been easy. He's had Matt Alexander right on his tail and Jake Malter, the 3rd car in that front train, as they work their way around this final lap. It is going to be a great finish.
I would expect Malter to make a move here going into turn number 8 if possible on Matt Alexander. He tries to maybe think about it to the inside of turn number 6. Doesn't make it happen. Alexander kind of goes a little defensive there. Malter has to try to roll the outside. There's not much grip on the outside there, so now he has to regroup, but that gives daylight to Taro Kishida as they go into turn number 8.
Taro Kishida's best friends were battling in 2nd and 3rd there. He took advantage of that battle between Alexander and Malter, and he snuck away by a couple car lengths. But now Matt Alexander has done away with Jake Malter, and he sets his sight on that top guy again, heading down the long back stretch for the final time.
Good exit by Matt Alexander, but even a better exit by Taro Kashida as they come down the back straightaway for the final time. Kashida now has the lead. Matt Alexander wants it, drives it in deep into the corner there, but Alexander not close enough to make anything of it. He'll have to fall in line as they come through the final corner. It's going to be Taro Kashida's day, my friends.
Taro Kashida is led from the opening lap from the pole, but this was not an easy victory as Matt Alexander finishes just a few tenths behind, and Jake Malter comes home in third place, just a second behind those top two. Then it was Scott Bowman, Josh Dale, Mike Ryan, Ethan Tyler, Sam Bowman, and Scott Ballard in ninth place. Greg Sorg will round out your top 10. What a great Spec Miata 22-lap feature out here at the Audubon Country Club.
We just got a good shot of Sam Bowman's view of really pushing the limits of the final corner there, trying everything he can to get past the 0.8 of Ethan Tyler. Mike Ryan even trying to extend the track a little bit by running into the grass there with his left side tires. That's not really a place you really want to be testing the limits there at the exit of 13 because that pit wall does come up pretty quick on you. But nonetheless, Sam Bowman just trying to do everything he could to roll his momentum through the corner 13-14 to try to come home another place higher. But Ethan Tyler was able to hold him off and come home in 7th and 8th.
What really, really impressed me today, Jordan, was as tight as this racing was, everybody was racing a nice, clean battle here in those Spec Miatas. Sometimes we see the tempers start to go because of this tight racing.
You could definitely start to see some of the aggression driving come out, and I think we kind of got to see a little bit of that towards the end there with how aggressive some guys were being on the brakes, going into some braking zones. But, you know, when the field is spread out like that, like the way they were there at the end, you can tend to take some chances like that and try to take some risks, tend to be a little bit over-aggressive going into a corner there to try to make a move happen. But when everyone's so compact and close together, that's when you kind of want to just get all you can try to get. You know, be very cautious of one another, be respectful, and be able to race each other nice and clean. Try not to make any contact with anybody, and that's kind of what we try to see and what we kind of saw here today when everybody was in a pack. I think when everyone was in that pack of 2 or 3 wide that we were expecting, everyone was very respectful, very clean, gave each other plenty of room, and was able to kind of be able to go into the next corner and complete the next lap and eventually finish the race.
A great 22 lap race out here on the south course of the Audubon Country Club. Big thanks to our friends from Race Caddy for sponsoring the Spec division. And your winner in that number 60, Taro Kashida, officially 0.4 of a second was his gap to second place, Matt Alexander in the 157. The 69 of Jake Malter just 1 second behind in third place. The 26 of Scott Bowman was in fourth. Josh Dale coming home in fifth. The 120 of Mike Ryan gets credit for sixth place, and he was only about 8.3 seconds behind the leader, so good tight finish there in the top 6 today out here at Audubon. Finishing 7th, the 08 of Ethan Tyler. The 33 of Sam Bowman was 8th. The 190 of Scott Ballard in 9th, and the 71 of Greg Sorg rounded out your top 10.
15th of Art Zeismer comes home in 11th. The number 3 of Tom Bagley in 12th. That was the last 2 cars that were on the lead lap and out running on the track. Jackson Wolney in the 131 comes home 13th. Gavin Gleitzman 14th. Kevin Lockridge in 15th. Dave Hicks in 16th. Again, those 4 drivers having to retire from earlier in the race.
Well, don't go anywhere, folks. That's one race in the books, but we've got the SM2 class. We'll have 25 starters in that one, Jordan, and I know they're going to put on a great show out here at the Audubon Country Club as well, and get a great look at those fleet cars that the members can take out for some laps here at Audubon. My goodness, what a great collection that is.
I believe one of your cars was out in that field as well, too, that you got to take out there before the festivities of today's racing happened. But nonetheless, it's one of the part of the amenities that we offer here to our members here at the Country Club. And also, if you bring guests along with as part of your membership, they also could take those cars out for a ride as well, just like my partner and guest here today, Dennis, was able to do today for lunchtime touring.
It was a great time indeed, and we'll have another big feature coming up, folks. We got about 15 minutes before the SM2 race will be out there, and we're going to take a short break, but we will be back. You're watching Audubon Country Club member racing here from the Audubon Country Club in Joliet.
Hey there, welcome to Audubon Race House. Did you know that race house rooms are available for members and guests to rent? With 3 bedrooms with ensuite bathrooms, a common area with a pool table and poker table, whether you're kicking back on the patio or sitting at the bar, Audubon Race House has everything you need to extend your time at the club. For more information or to make your reservation, contact Aaron at AudubonCC.com.
Define nature. It's what defines the all-new 2024 Corvette E-Ray. The quickest Corvette ever, with 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. An electrified all-wheel drive that handles all 4 seasons. A supercar of contrasts. It's everything you never expected. One like none.
At Lexus, our motto is you have to feel it to believe it. Experience the exhilaration of the Lexus Performance line.
Welcome to Kart Circuit Audubon, home of the best arrive and drive karting in the Chicagoland area. This is our brand new fleet of CRG Centurion rental karts that go 50 miles an hour. They're fast, fun, and safe. They are also built for the driver that has the need for speed. Come on out and show us what you got.
We're here at the acclaimed Daytona International Speedway to show the Blazer EVSS in a way it's never been seen. It's beautiful with a sleek and dynamic design, but performance is in our DNA. And what better way to put the Blazer EVSS to the paces than having Team Chevy NASCAR drivers Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain get behind the wheel.
She looks fast.
Sure does.
You want to see what she's got?
Let's go.
All right. Yoo-hoo!
This is a Blazer EV SS. Let's see what wild mode can do.
Let's go. Yes! So much torque.
This is what performance sounds like.
What a ride. You think the Cup car will be that smooth? My turn to drive.
From 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. Experience the sound of performance.
Yeah, I was definitely faster than Daniel.
Define nature. It's what defines the all-new 2024 Corvette E-Ray. The quickest Corvette ever, with 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. An electrified all-wheel drive that handles all 4 seasons. A supercar of contrasts. It's everything you never expected. One like none.
Hey there, welcome to Autobahn Race House. Did you know that race house rooms are available for members and guests to rent? With 3 bedrooms with ensuite bathrooms, a common area with a pool table and poker table, whether you're kicking back on the patio or sitting at the bar, Autobahn Race House has everything you need to extend your time at the club. For more information or to make your reservation, contact Aaron at AutobahnCC.com.
At Lexus, our motto is you have to feel it to believe it. Experience the exhilaration of the Lexus Performance line.
Welcome to Kart Circuit Autobahn, home of the best arrive and drive karting in the Chicagoland area. This is our brand new fleet of CRG Centurion rental karts that go 50 miles an hour. They're fast, fun, and safe. They are also built for the driver that has the need for speed. Come on out and show us what you got.
Dennis Michelson, Jordan Missick back out here at the Autobahn Country Club. Jordan, we got treated to 22 laps of great racing, and I have a feeling we're going to get 22 more great laps of racing here with this SM2 class because we've got an even bigger field.
I will always say the SM class has proven to be very close, tight, competitive racing. Now, that's not to say we're going to get the same in SM2, but the SM2 provides a little bit more of an interesting aspect. And the reason why I say it is because you're dealing with guys who are very new to racing. You also have guys who are new, or who have experience racing, but not as much, haven't been doing this for quite some time. You're 1 to 2 year guys, or guys who have been gone for some time, have now just come back, or getting their feet wet in the racing. So, not saying we're dealing with a lot of inexperience out here, but we're also dealing with a lot of guys who, you know, will be a little bit more spread out, have a little bit more interesting aspect, but I think we see a lot more variety that comes to the table when we talk about the SM2 class compared to the SM1 class.
The last time we were out here, SM2 racing, and we had the Triple Crown racing, we got to see something that's always so much fun in racing. And I don't care what level it is. I don't care whether you're talking go-karts, whether you're talking SM2, Spec Miatas, whether you're talking NASCAR, IndyCar, a first-time winner.
Yes.
And we got to see Bob Reisinger get his first win out here in that 808 last time out. And boy, that was exciting. And he'll be starting second on the grid. But before we set the field for your 22-lap race, we want to thank a few more of our sponsors around here. Of course, Race Caddy and First Bank Card Processing sponsoring our Spec Miata and SM2 classes out here today. You see that beautiful South Starter stand. Got to thank our folks from Gallagher Asphalt for helping out with that as well, and also for making the track surface so smooth and safe. And as you're watching the racing today, folks, you might notice all these billboards. Well, if you want to get your company name out here on the Autobahn member racing channel and be seen by the members out here at the Autobahn Country Club, the best way is to get a billboard. You can stay in front of our members by featuring your logo on an Autobahn billboard. There's still one available in the South Turn, and there's plenty of ways to get extra exposure for your brand to our 540 member families. You can see Ron for more information, like good friends from Maximum Action, and of course, you can always call her the Queen Bee. I love a good billboard with a little bit of humor and fun. Well, let's set the lineup for your SM2 class. We're going to have a field of 25, and on your front row, it's Sean Benet and Bob Reisinger. Row number 2, Eamon Ryan and Lee Werner. Row 3, the youngster Eli Dysart and Emmett Ryan. Row 4, Leo Schreiber and Noel Sachs. And row 5, and rounding out your top 10 of starters, Mark Stadolski and Jeff Newman.
Row number 6 will have the 008 of Norm Malter and Bill Hamill, who's going to be lining up beside him. I talked to Bill before today, and he was very excited about dropping his lap times from normally doing 142s to a 41. So he's now set personal best, so we could expect some good things out of Bill Hamill today to roll off from the 12th position. Bruce Malter and Jason Greenwood will line up 13th and 14th alongside each other in row number 7. And then Thomas Greenwood, the 178, is going to be right next to Joe Miklos in the 523 for row number 8. David Martinelli will be in the 05, next to Brad Jones in row 9. Andre Van Vieren, a name we haven't heard of since Oktoberfest, has been out and about, just traveling the world for business trips, but he is back racing with us today, along with Gary Traverso. He'll be rolling alongside him in the 20th spot. Randy Cochran will roll off 21st with Nolan Lehman in the 22nd position. His brother Donovan Lehman is going to be rolling off 23rd, and Tim Milne in the 24th spot. That's row 12, and Connor Ryan will start shotgun on the field in row number 13. He is starting back in the pack due to a penalty that he had some rear end contact. He'll start from the rear due to contact that he had at the last race of our Triple Crown event. And the biggest thing about Connor Ryan is, although he is starting shotgun on the field, he posted the fastest time in qualifying by over half a second over the rest of the field. So we can expect Connor Ryan to have some big things coming through the field, and maybe even some spectacular passes on this opening lap.
And we did have one car that had some issues today with Eli Dysart having some mechanical issues. We'll have to see if he is able to answer the call when this field comes out behind this fleet pace car, this beautiful Lexus pace car. And speaking of those fleet cars, you can sign up when you're out here at the Autobahn Country Club to drive one of those Autobahn performance fleet vehicles. They have a little bit of a variety too, Jordan. Man, goodness, BMWs, Cadillac, Chevy, a Ford, a Lexus. You can use the Autobahn app to select your favorite if you're a member, and take one of those for a ride.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got some good news and bad news to share with you all. The good news is the field is rolling in behind that beautiful Lexus pace car, Dennis, that you just mentioned, and we're getting all these beautiful shots. And Eli Dysart has answered the call. He is on the grid and running in the 6th spot right now. The bad news is he's going to have himself a 2-place grid spot penalty, along with Dave Martinelli for signing up late, and also Donovan Lehman getting hit with a 5 grid spot penalty for being underweight from qualifying. But the other thing we mentioned too is Eli Dysart was dealing with a clutch issue in qualifying, along with a hydraulic line. So the guys over at Advanced Autosport were able to get the car back together, get him out on track, and he is now on the grid, ready to go racing, and he'll roll off on the 5th spot in row number 3.
Maybe they got to give Donovan Lehman one of those breakfast burritos I had over at the cafe. They wouldn't be underweight anymore.
I figured you just hand him a cheeseburger at the cafe for lunch that he had today. He might have had a double cheeseburger for all that matters to make the weight that he needed to do for the day. But nonetheless, able to get out there, and we have about 6 different rookies that are going to be out there today dealing with this matter. Thomas Greenwood being the youngest one of them all. That will be answering the call behind his father, Jason Greenwood. So we'll have a little bit of family rivalry starting from 8th and 9th.
Absolutely love these in-car cameras that we get to ride along with Reeve Werner. You also saw some great drone footage, but if you're out here at the track, the place to be is on the old 2nd South deck. You can watch all of the action from the old 2nd South deck. Thanks to Old 2nd for providing a cool, comfortable place to cheer on our member racing series. You don't want to miss it up there on the South deck. It's a great view of the track.
A lot of those people up there on that old 2nd South deck enjoying a great view of all of our cars and member racing participants coming across the start-finish line there right in front of them, but also getting a good shot as they come through turn number 5, heading into 6, and down the back straightaway from turn 7 into Patience. The other thing we'd like to thank as well is our partners at Sentinel for actually providing us with all of these great camera shots from the in-car camera systems that you were just mentioning there, Dennis. So Sentinel doing a really good job providing us with 2 onboard cameras that we were able to see from the Spec Miata race, but also 2, we'll be riding on board with Mr. Lee Warner in the in-car camera. He'll roll off from the 4th spot.
From that 4th spot, we should see some terrific footage early in this race. And it's harder to predict than the Spec Miata class.
You can predict kind of who's going to be running up front and who's going to be battling for the win in Spec Miata. But the thing is right now, when it comes to, the SM2 class, there's a lot of more interesting characters and a lot of more variables that are coming into play here. So you have, let's say, Sean Bonet and Bob Reisinger, our previous race winner, up at the front. Yes, they're going to be our contenders that will be early on, but does that mean they're going to stay there towards the end of this race? We also have Connor Ryan, who's going to be coming from the back, who has shown the pace to be the class of the field. And granted, it is a 22-lap race, but is his car going to be set up for those 22 laps? Is he going to have the tire life that he's been asking for have to pass the entire field and then have to go to battle against the top front runners as well? Could a guy like Lee Warner, who doesn't really race around us as much, but it comes out here occasionally, be a sleeper pick for the race win? Or could a youngster like Thomas Greenwood, who has been around for quite some time, come into play? Or even another sleeper pick, Louis Schreiber in the 111, a former Radical Cup, or not even say former Radical Cup driver, current Radical Cup driver who just came off a nice race weekend up at Road America during IndyCar's race weekend up there. He's now traded the keys into his Radical and hopped into a nice old 1990 Spec Miata to take this chance at a race today. First Spec Miata race for him, was able to qualify in the 7th spot, and for some guy who has traded in downforce for a nice, sedan kind of driving, not bad for a first-timer, going about a second and a half off the pace of what the leader pole sitter was running.
What is always interesting in this SM2 class is there are some drivers that on some days they can string together those more consistent laps. And then there are other guys that will be really fast one lap and then a couple seconds slower the next lap. You don't quite always see the consistency in this SM2 class, and it can make for some really dicey battles out on the track.
The one thing I'll always bring up, and it's always so funny to ask these guys these questions, because myself, when I do my coaching and talk to some of these drivers, they put all these laps in, they're consistent, they have their kind of laps, but then all of a sudden they'll just pop in a lap that's maybe a second and a half faster. And I said, what did you do differently on this lap? How did you accomplish this lap? And I asked, what'd you do? And their answer is, I don't know. I don't know what I did. I just did it. So when you kind of get to that level of consistency to where you know what you're actually doing while driving the car, proves a pivotal point to not only your driver skill, but also adds to the consistency aspect of you as a driver, as we now start to get the field to kind of go double up here. But you kind of start to see, you start to put those skill sets into place, and then you can start to see your level of as a driver start to expound and start to build up from there.
And sometimes when you back up your corners a little bit, all of a sudden you're faster.
Slow in, fast out is what I like to say.
It's amazing how that happens.
Slow in, fast out. Sometimes it's the name of the game. The field of 25 cars, 13 rows, perfectly aligned right here. Coming on turn number 13, Dennis, take us to green.
22 laps. Sean Benet is going to lead us to the green flag, and it's going to be interesting if Connor Ryan can use those 20 already off track back in the pack.
Well, that was the 5-2-3 of Joe Mikolos taking 2 tires into the grass. Connor Ryan already picking up 3 or 4 spots. He's middle 3 wide, further back in the pack. 3 wide now between Thomas Greenwood on the inside and his father, Jason Greenwood, on his inside.
Connor Ryan saying, "Ka-chow, I'm coming through."
And you got a side-by-side battle up front there. Bob Reisinger going to go to the lead. The confidence boost of a win from last race has now pole vaulted him into the early race lead. Lee Warner, who started from the 4th spot, all over the back bumpers. We're getting that nice camera shot of Bob Reisinger's rear end here into turn number 6 for the very first time on the back end of Lee Warner's Sentinel camera.
I knew we were going to get a good view of this race, starting 4th with Lee Warner already up to 2nd, and he is wanting that lead.
Sean Benet has slotted himself into the 3rd spot. The pole sitter already dropping 2 spots. Eli Dysart has now pushed himself into the 2nd position. Lee Warner kind of going a little wide there through turn number 9 into 10. Opens the door for Sean Benet to go to the inside, but now opens the door for Eli Dysart to bust a move to the left-hand side and take him 3 wide.
3 wide down the back stretch for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. They'll have to get it sorted out by the time they get to this corner.
Big move right there by Eli Dysart, being very late on the brakes, being very controlled with that brake modulation as they came into the corner. Sean Benet on the inside part of the track there is going to lose out those 2 spots. Eli now takes it around the outside, move him up to the 2nd spot. Bob Reisinger going to lead away from Eli Dysart and Lee Warner as they complete lap number 1.
We'll get them all sorted for you after 1 lap. Bob Reisinger leading the way, Eli Dysart in 2nd, Lee Warner 3rd, Sean Benet 4th, Eamon Ryan 5th, Noel Sachs, Louis Schreiber, Jeff Newman, Emmett Ryan and Mark Stadolski, your top 10.
Everybody kind of now getting themselves a little bit spread out there, minding their P's and Q's. Look further back at Connor Ryan. He's kind of moved himself up 5 positions, making another pass to the inside right now. That looks to be the number, I would only want to say, I think it was the number 96 of Brad Jones potentially, or the number number 96 of Brad Jones. So potentially move Connor Ryan up into the 18th spot as of now early on in this race.
He is picking them off fast. He's got 22. Ooh, car goes off and into the old little agricultural racing. That's the 225 of Evan Ryan.
That's the 229 of Jeff Newman. Jeff Newman there, he kind of lost it there in the middle of turn of number 7. Kind of takes the car to a little bit of a spin into the Dandelion field, gets it going. So Jeff Newman going to have to pick it up a little bit of dust back there, and looks like turn number 10. One car potentially looks like it stopped over there in turn number 10 there, if we could potentially get a good look over there. Nonetheless, the rest of the field coming through turn 11 and 12, heading over into 13.
They'll get it sorted out, and Bob Reisinger continuing to lead the way.
One car now dips its tires off into the grass, was able to keep it going through turn number 11 and 12, but the side-by-side battle comes through 13. There is still one car that is spun over in turn number 10. From a quick glance of it, it looks like it could have been the number 9 of Bill Hamill.
Up front, Bob Reisinger still leading the way. Eli Dysart in second. Sean Benet into third. Lee Warner into fourth. And Eamon Ryan back to fifth. Connor Ryan back in the pack is already up to 14th position after 2 laps of racing.
If a yellow does come out here for that stranded car over in turn number 9, that would play big dividends to Connor Ryan. It will be a huge boost to help him in his chances of coming back into a podium position, maybe even a race win, as the field now roars his way off of turn number 6 through turn number 7, coming back to the scene of the incident back in turn number 9. Bob Reisinger continues to lead the way over Eli Dysart, Sean Benet, and Lee Warner.
Those top 4 nose to tail in 5th place, latching onto that freight train up front as well.
Rest of the field right now just kind of moseying their way on through. There is the car that is stopped there, the number 9 of Bill Hamill, still off to driver's left-hand side in turn number 9. Car has still been there, but he is kind of out of the way, and full course yellow has now been called. So race is now going to be neutralized for to go get that number 9 car of Bill Hamill trapped over in turn number 9. But this is the big break that Connor Ryan needed in order to get himself back into this race.
While Connor Ryan had gained 11 places from the start, he was still 9.6 seconds behind the leaders. And you're right, Jordan, this will tighten it back up and give him a chance to pick off a few more pretty easy on the next restart.
We knew that this race was going to be a long one, but especially with it being 22 laps, it was going to be a decent gain and a decent length of time for Connor Ryan to make his way through the field. But now with the yellow that we've experienced here, it's going to make it a little bit easier for him to kind of pick his way through. He's going to lose about 3 to 4 laps, yes, because of this yellow flag, potentially 1 or 2 if the safety team can get him out of there quickly enough. But it's going to bunch the field back up. You mentioned you had that, 9-second gap? Well, now he doesn't have to do that anymore. So now he's got the rest of the field that's going to be very close together, as we're getting reports now that it was a left rear wheel that was missing and lost on the number 9 of Bill Hamill. So that car is basically stuck in the mud.
Let's take you through the field here after 3 laps are on the board. And winning is going to maybe get contagious for our leader, 808 of Bob Reisinger. He leads the way, the 28 of Eli Dysart in second. Sean Benet in third with the 27. The 09 of Lee Warner in fourth. And the 225 of Eamon Ryan rounds out your top 5.
Louis Schreiber runs in the 6th position with Noel Sachs in the 7th spot. Emmett Ryan is in the 8th spot currently in that 81 Wonder Bread car. Mark Stadolski in the 9th spot. And rounding out the top 10 is the 008 of Norm Malter.
In 11th place, the 427 of Bruce Malter. Oh, a little family battle there, 10th and 11th. In 12th place, Connor Ryan now get credit for 12th place here under caution. 13th is the 178 of Thomas Greenwood. The 67 of Jason Greenwood in 4th place. Getting a lot of these same last names battling each other directly here on the restart. Rounded out the top 15, the 177 of Dave Martinelli.
And then we have right there in the number 17th position is the 523 of Joe Mikolos. Gary Traverso is in the 18th spot right now in that 72 car. Brad Jones currently runs 19th, and Nolan Lehman in the 95 sits in the 20th position.
21st is Andre Van Vuren. As he said, haven't seen him out here in a while. 22nd is Donovan Lehman. 23rd position, the 137 of Randy Cochran. The 24th racing car right now is the 219 of Tom Milne. The 229 of Jeff Newman in 25th, and Bill Hamill will be done for the day.
Yeah, with that lost wheel, as you were able to see on our screen there. So Bill Hamill kind of stuck in the dead in the water, as we like to call it sometimes. And we have our safety team now reaching on scene to go rescue the number 9 of Bill Hamill. But while we're under safety car here, Dennis, we were able to experience a little bit of the fast action racing. We kind of now start to see who our favorites are going to be, but we also want to see who are going to be some of the comers and goers here. Who's going to be your one sleeper pick that we have potentially the rest of this race?
Oh, boy. He's not a sleeper pick, but boy, it's hard to say, Connor Ryan starting shotgun on the field. If he were to win this race today, that would be an impressive feat for the young man.
Yes, it would. And, I'll give credit to Louis Schreiber as well there, too. He's sitting currently in the 7th spot, trading in his Radical to go into a Spec Miata. It's no easy feat, I'll tell you that. But handling himself pretty well here, running early in that 6th position, has a ton of racing experience, has raced very different vast majority of cars throughout the course of the years. But, when you throw him into a Spec Miata, a car that's more, I would say, driver-based in the sense, and a guy who hasn't raced it or driven that car for a very long time, he's got himself a little bit of a tall order against him, and he's hanging tough up there, and I'd love to see, what he's been able to do so far in the first 5 laps.
Our in-car camera, Lee Werner, is another guy who was really impressive right from the start, right from the drop of the green flag. He lost a couple of spots back and running 4th currently, but he did really well in that first start of the race. And so on the restart, maybe he can get it going again.
He did get a good jump there, was able to go from the 4th spot up to the 2nd position, but I want to go back to that 3-wide battle that we had going on the back straightaway with Lee Warner. Kind of went a little wide in turn number 9 on the back end of Sean Benet. Benet was able to kind of roll the outside of turn number 10 to get a good drive down the back straightaway, but it allowed Eli Dysart to get a good run and then shoot the gap all the way onto the left-hand side, go 3 wide, was able to pass both of them, and then to outbrake the 2 going into the corner. It was just the last bit of trail braking as they turned into the corner. Both Lee Warner and Sean Benet kind of backed up a little bit. Eli just kind of sent it in there on the outside and was able to hold the spot and was able to pick up 2 positions from that.
Remember, folks, if you are enjoying this racing and see how much fun it is, you can become a member here at the Audubon Country Club, and they will train you how to race. And the great thing is there's folks right here on the premises that will maintain your race car for you.
Yep.
So you don't have work to do. You don't have extra work to do. You just let the pros handle it, and you can race your way all the way up. You could start at karts, or you could start in the Miatas. You could start in just about anything. Going through the driver academy, you will learn a lot around here of how to be a professional race car driver, even as a club racer.
So we will say this: we have 5 shops on property here that are well maintained, well manicured, that are able to take your car and basically do any maintenance service to it, get it prepped up for you to where you need to go on track and you have only 20 minutes to do it. Well, guess what? Your car is going to be sitting here ready to go, waiting for your arrival to be able to take it on track. We have a nice arrive and drive experience with all of our shops here. So that way all you have to do is just show up, get in your car, drive, and go home if you wanted to. And the shops here on property will take care of the rest for you, so no hassle, no need involved. The other thing is, too, with our driver academy, is we can take any novice guy off the street if we wanted to, and if he's got the talent and capability of it, we could turn you into a good racer like you were mentioning, and soon enough, maybe you could be on screen of racing in a Spec Miata series, and we could be calling your races next.
And here's the fun part. You don't have to jump right in to the SM2 class.
Yep.
You can do some laps out here. Work on your craft and your skill before you dare to get out here with 25 other cars and beat and bang in here in this SM2 class. But that's the wonder of this SM2 class. Everybody's welcome.
Yep.
And the cars are so even. So if you've got the skill, your talent will let you rise to the top of this field.
Well, the good news about our club is we treat it like any other country club. Like most people, obviously, that stands us for others is we're obviously a motorsports country club. Other country clubs are mainly golf country club, and they have their men's league, they have their ladies league, and they have their own intramural leagues going on. Well, this is our intramural league of that in sense, and that's the member racing that we have up here. And if you were to become a member and everything, you have the opportunity to go through our 2-day member race school, which we have one that is coming up on July 17th and 18th for anybody who is interested in getting a racing license for an SCCA, PCA, or even a NASA license. You are available to sign up through our 2-day race school here at the Audubon Country Club, and our license is successful and granted by SCCA, NASA, and PCA. So even if you aren't a member and you're looking to get a racing license, feel free to reach out to myself or Mike Gritter here at the Audubon Country Club to get your racing license and sign up for our 2-day race school. Again, we got one that's coming up in July as well as the end of September. And once you complete that 2-day race school, if you are a member, you are free then to partake in our member racing series, and you then can be on screen racing in front of everyone that you see at our old Second Bank deck that we have out there on property.
I had it described to me as a member years ago out here. I asked him, how expensive is it to go racing? He says, strangely affordable.
I've never heard anybody say that.
I said, what do you mean by strangely affordable? He says, I kind of lost more money and more balls golfing. So I gave up the golf club membership. I became a member out here at Audubon, and so far I haven't lost a car in the woods, so I've got that going for me. But now there's racing for everybody's level of whatever they want to do. And that's what he meant by strangely affordable. He says, you could put as much money into it as you can with any hobby, but it is going to be something that you enjoy, and your skill level will determine just how broke you go.
And the other thing, too, that's so unique about our SM2 field is, like we mentioned, we have 25 cars. But not all 25 cars are going to be within the exact same skill level or skill range. We have a vast majority of variation of drivers out here. So even if you are an experienced driver or a brand new newcomer participating in our first race, guess what? Out of the 25 cars that we have in our race, or the 40 cars that have signed up in today's race, you're going to have somebody to actually go race against. And that's the beauty of what we have here at the Audubon, is that there's always somebody to race against and always somebody to be driving with. So we can see now, like, when you get out here, you're always going to have someone to go chase, going to have someone to have a story to tell, going to have someone to, drive against. You're not going to be out there by yourself all 22 laps of a race.
And what the member told me years ago, he says, Dennis, if I shoot a 78 at a golf course, I may never shoot it again.
Yeah.
But at a racetrack, I can usually better my best time. I can shave another tenth off, another few hundredths off each time.
Lights are out on the pace car here, so Bob Reisinger has now set the tone for the rest of the field on this restart. Pace car has dived into the safety of pit lane, and now the field falls into the hands of Bob Reisinger as he'll lead the field off of turn 13 and 14. We wait to see the green flag pop out, and there it is, and everyone splits formation as we come down the start finish straight.
Fanning out 4 wide, 5 wide back in the pack. It's Bob Reisinger will take him down into turn 1, 15 laps to go.
Reisinger able to get away, but Dice are trying to roll the outside as much as he can to keep the momentum up and keep the pressure on 808 Bob as they go through turn number 3. Reisinger gets away well with Dysart in second, and I believe that is the 27 of Sean Bonet in third. Lee Warner has kind of been on the back foot now as he falls back to fourth and has 5 other cars right behind him want that position as well.
Reisinger continuing to show the way, but he cannot get rid of Eli Dysart. And in third place, Sean Bonet right there. We have a 3-car pack trying to get a little gap on the rest of the field.
The back half of the field just kind of tiptoeing their way around, trying to stay off each other's toes, trying not to trip over each other, but at the front of the pack, it's all line of stern between Bob Reisinger, Eli Dysart, Sean Bonet, and Lee Warner was able to get a little bit of a gap from the next 4 cars that were right behind him. So, rest of the field, all line of stern as they come out of turn number 10 and head down the back straightaway to turn 11. We looked at Connor Ryan a little bit further back there. We talked about him under the safety car. He's already gained about 2 spots now on this restart, so potentially move him up to the 10th position.
Bob Reisinger takes him through turn 11 and 12 as they will head back here to the start-finish line to complete lap number 8.
Big moment right there for Louis Schreiber trying to take a peek to the inside of, I believe that was the 81 of Emmett Ryan. I could be mistaken on that. Nope, that was the 225 of Eamon Ryan, the other brother between the Ryan brothers, but took a peek to the inside, thought better of it at the very last second, not to stuff his nose to the inside there, was able to make his way through the corner, but lost a little bit of time to Eamon Ryan, and now potentially trying not to fall into the clutches of the brother of Emmett Ryan.
Bob Reisinger leads the way. Eli Dysart, Sean Bonet, and Lee Warner. That front 4-pack has a little bit of a gap. On 5th place, Eamon Ryan. Louis Schreiber in 6th, Emmett Ryan in 7th, Noel Sachs 8th, Mark Stadolski in 9th, and you're right, Connor Ryan 10th. Only 4.5 seconds back after lap 8.
His next target in front of him is going to be the 211 of Noel Sachs, I believe, as he has dispatched the number 83 of Mark Stadolski. Stadolski now a little bit further back there. Connor Ryan coming to the inside. He's coming through. Give another spot to Connor Ryan. He's up to 8th as he's just passed the 211 of Noel Sachs.
Continuing to charge through the field. He's got a long way to go, but he's still got a long time to get there. They will still have 13 laps to go when they finish this lap. And Eli Dysart trying to peek out, trying to get a run on Bob Reisinger, but he falls back into line going to 11.
Thinks better of it right now, a little bit further back there. That's, I believe, Eamon Ryan in a 225 going to battle with Louis Schreiber. Schreiber trying to get a little bit of a taste of what it's like to be racing in the Spec Miata field. Tried to make a move to the inside, knew he didn't make it of it, so he kind of hops the curb a little bit, makes it happen. Now he takes a peek to the inside, trying to make the pass going into turn number 1.
Eli Dysart had the inside line, trying to make it stick, and he does. Bob Reisinger back to second.
Right now, Louis Schreiber going side by side with Eamon Ryan, that is. Schreiber rolling the outside, makes the pass stick. Schreiber now up to the 5th spot. As you mentioned, Dysart goes to the lead. Connor Ryan now trying to put his head down, trying to get the gap to close down here. Should be his time where he should putting in those fast laps.
That first 4 now is pulled away by a considerable margin over 5th place, but then they've got their own race for 5th and 6th and 5th place. Even Ryan getting a little squirrely.
One car that goes off the racetrack, that is the 111 of Louis Schreiber. Lost it a little bit in the middle of turn number 6 there. Was not able to recover the car again. He just kind of lets the car go into the grass there, rides it out, comes back onto the racetrack, but another free spot up for everybody from 6th on back. So Emmett Ryan, Connor Ryan, and Noel Sachs able to move up a spot.
Eli Dysart will lead the field down the long back stretch. Bob Reisinger in 2nd, Sean Bonet 3rd, and they've gotten a gap of a couple car lengths over Lee Warner in 4th, and Connor Ryan back in the pack continues to pick them off.
A little bit of a lockup there. I believe that was from the 27 of Sean Bonet going into the braking zone. Don't think he expected the number 808 of Bob Reisinger to hit the brakes as hard as he did. Locked them up there, went a little wide. Lee Warner was there to pick up the scraps, move him up a spot. Lee Warner now up to 3rd.
Eli Dysart finishes this 10th lap on top. but that gap is tight. Bob Reisinger in second, Lee Warner third. Sean Benet and Emmett Ryan round out your top 5.
And as expected, Connor Ryan has now set the fastest lap of the race, 3/10 quicker than our leader Eli Dysart from his previous fast lap. He's the only guy right now in the 1:39 time bracket range. Connor Ryan now coming onto the back end of Emmett Ryan and even Ryan. It's a battle of the Ryans for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Way back in the pack, they've got their own race going on. So action all over the place here on this beautiful South course here at the Audubon Country Club. But up front, Eli Dysart has the lead.
You have the battle between the Brotherly Love Ryan brothers, and now they're really racing for bragging rights in this sense. One car able to dip a couple tires into the grass. That's Connor Ryan. He's now going to dick to the inside of the number 81 of Emmett Ryan. Give the spot to Connor Ryan. He's up to the 6th spot, and he'll try to bring Emmett with him.
Racing back in that pack, and Connor Ryan putting on a show with a real classy car look, man. I love that paint scheme.
Well, if you look at the Ryan brothers they all have different paint schemes. You have the Wonder Bread car on Emmett Ryan's car from Talladega Nights. Connor Ryan's rocking the Lightning McQueen scheme from movie cars. Even Ryan kind of going with the classic silver scheme, similar to what his dad's car is like. So that's the thing about the Ryan brothers, is that they're very creative with some of their color schemes and personalities.
Makes it easier for the announcers to see those cars, so we appreciate it as well. Up front, Eli Dysart will finish off lap 11. They get the cross flags this time by, but Bob Reisinger right in his tire tracks. He lights it up a little bit going into 1.
The one thing that Bob Reisinger has been trying to work on this whole entire year has been needing to pass in very clutch and sticky situations. He's been able to kind of get the reel in on Eli Dysart, but the next thing is catching him is one thing, passing him is another. He's been able to stick to the back bumper of Eli Dysart, but Dysart really not showing much weakness here around this 2.1 mile track of our South Circuit. So Bob Reisinger is going to have to be pretty creative and pretty aggressive when he wants to make a pass stick.
Eli Dysart has probably been the smoothest through all of the corners out here today, and that's why he's been able to get to the front of this pack. But Bob Reisinger right on his tail, and now Lee Werner has reeled those guys in tight for the top 3.
One car just went off at the exit of turn number 6 there. I believe that was the 008 of Norm Malter, as we see him kind of just short of the guardrail there, able to get the car stopped, didn't hit anything, and now has continued on going very straight off the track there from the number 008 of Norm Malter, and he's able to get back on track safely and continue as the rest of the field now charges his way into turn number 11.
Will stay green, and up front, Eli Dysart continues to lead that front train with Bob Reisinger in second, Lee Werner in third, and Sean Benet in fourth. The Ryan brothers duking it out for 5th through 7th.
A little bit further back there, we see the battle between 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. That's the 211 of Noel Sachs, 83 of Mark Stradalski, along with the 427 of Bruce Malter and the 178 of young Thomas Greenwood.
Great racing all through the pack, and our crew doing a great job of showing you the best battles on the track. And up front, it continues to be Mr. Eli Dysart leading over Bob Reisinger.
This battle for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th right now is 10 to heat it up. Noel Sachs is getting a mirrorful of the 83 of Mark Stradalski, one of the veterans here in the SM2 category, taking it to one of the newcomers, I would say. Noel Sachs has been around for a couple of years now, but not to compare to Stolski's off. He goes off really deep into the weeds of the grass there, lost it at the exit of turn number 4, comes up just short of the outside guardrail there, is able to keep the car at least straight, but we'll have to see if he's able to keep rolling and continue going.
Does not look like he will be able to get going. Well, he is going to get it going and re-enter the fray. So we will stay green out here, and up front, Eli Dysart continuing to lead the way, but it looks like he's having some issues as he returns to the track.
I'd say the commentator's curse has come into play there. Once we started talking about that battle, something happened in front of our screen there. But nonetheless, a little bit of an interesting, peculiar spin there from Mark Stradalski, as it happened very late in the corner there, kind of at the exit of turn number 4 there. You tend to just want to open your hands up and let the car kind of drift to the exit there. So Don't know exactly how he lost the car there. Must have been more middle part of the track where he lost it and the center and just couldn't hang on to it, but was able to go for a spin and it moves up a couple positions and he lost that 10th spot.
Our top 5 now just separated by 1.2 seconds after lap 13, with Eli Dysart leading the way, Bob Reisinger in second, Lee Warner in third, Sean Benet in fourth, and Eamon Ryan in fifth. Connor Ryan is up to 6th, but he's 2.6 seconds back.
Connor Ryan continues to put in fast lap after fast lap right now, as he's been able to throw down a 139.7 as his fastest. He's continuing to roughly run in that 139.8, 139.9 range. His brother, Eamon Ryan, who's now getting pushed along by Connor Ryan, running in 139.9. Everybody else is up in the 140 range, so about a half a second roughly Connor Ryan has gained on the rest of the field, and he is about to join the party of 5 in front of him.
It is going to get dicey up front with Connor Ryan joining that party to make it a 6-pack up front, but Eli Dysart continues to lead the way.
The rest of the field now just snaking their way through 9 and 10, known as Patience, as they head to the long back straightaway to complete another circuit around this 2.1 mile circuit. Dysart able to get a good run out of turn 10, separated by, let's say, 3 or 4 car lengths over Bob Reisinger. He's able to kind of close it back up. Lee Warner really deep on the brakes there into the corner of turn number 11, closes the gap right back up, and just like that, it's like an accordion effect. You get to the straightaway, they all separate. Once they get back to that braking zone, they all collect right back up next to each other, nose to tail.
It is so important to come through Patience in good shape with these Miatas, because if you don't, you're going to lose a lot of that backstretch.
Now becomes the fairly tactical task for Connor Ryan. He has now caught the pack of 6 that are right in front of him, but a little bit of a bobble from the number 27 of Sean Benet. He's going to go side by side with Eamon Ryan. He allows Eamon to go through. Connor Ryan going to try to stick a nose. They're going to go side by side into turn number 4. Who's going to lift? Who's going to drive it in? Connor Ryan going to be very aggressive on the outside, makes it stick. He'll take the 5th spot away from Sean Benet.
What an impressive move there. All it takes is one car to get out of line, and the rest can just pounce on him. But up front, Eli Dysart continuing to lead the way, and he's been able to get that lead out to about 3 car lengths over Reisinger.
Now we're starting to see the race as it starts to wind down. The fuel load starts to burn off. The cars start to get lighter. The tires start to wear. And the body temperature inside these race cars is starting to get higher and hotter. So fatigue now starting to kick in. We might potentially see more mistakes happening. We saw it right there from the 27 of Sean Benet. Lost a spot there. You now have a nose-to-tail battle. It's going to be a side-by-side battle on the back straightaway between Lee Warner and Eamon Ryan. That could potentially bring Connor Ryan into the mix.
Eamon Ryan fighting for that spot, and that's going to help out Connor Ryan, because as they go side by side, Connor Ryan's going to be able to benefit and slip back and close that gap on those two.
As I was mentioning beforehand at the start of this lap, Connor Ryan obviously has now caught this field and is now in the mix, but now that he's caught the guys who are running up front, he's more susceptible to his lap time pace. It's going to be much harder for him to find a way to get by these guys, because he's going to have to run to the pace of the guys in front of him. He's going to have to create his own momentum. He's going to have to create his own gaps and time it just right if he wants to make a move happen. So Connor Ryan now going to have to kind of gauge his pace compared to the 3 to 4 cars that are in front of him.
That battle for third place allowed our leaders to kind of escape by about 6 or 7 car lengths, and now Eli Dysart has been able to spread that lead out by about 4 car lengths over Reisinger.
Both the top 2 of Bob Reisinger and Eli Dysart have just set their personal best laps of the race here, running around the 140 to 139.9 range. Still about 2/10 off of what Connor Ryan is running from his fastest lap. But Connor Ryan still has 2 cars that are in front of him, separating him from the top 2.
Connor Ryan, the fastest car on the track, but Eli Dysart and Bob Reisinger better run away before he gets up to third place, because he is on the move.
They can run, but I'm sure they really can't hide from Connor Ryan, as he's got 2 cars in front of him. But for how long can Lee Warner and Eamon Ryan be able to hold off the hard charging of Connor Ryan? They're both going to look like go side by side and have a battle of their own. Is Connor Ryan going to force the issue and make it 3 wide on them?
fantastic racing for third, fourth, and fifth place, and that is going to have a lot of a bearing here on who wins this race, because if this holds up, Connor Ryan, Reisinger, and Dysart are going to be able to run away at first and second.
Big moment there from Eamon Ryan over the apex curb. Kind of lost the balance of the car there and lost the handle. Was able to hang on to it. Lee Warner was able to hold that spot up, but it almost allowed Sean Bonet to have a chance to pounce on Connor Ryan there for a quick moment. Connor Ryan got a great run on the turn number 12. Tries to roll the outside of turn number 1 on his brother Eamon Ryan. Eamon Ryan not going to give it up, though, that easy.
6 laps to go, and they're continuing to fight, trying to sort out third through fifth. They'll go 3 wide.
But Nay going to go all the way to the inside, trying to hold on to it. He gets Connor Ryan. Connor loses a spot, but now Connor Ryan's going to come back. Eamon Ryan will take over the 4th spot. He'll roll the outside. Now Connor Ryan's going to try to do the same thing. They're side by side between him and Benet.
As they fight for 4th, 5th, and 6th, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd getting away. Eli Dysart starting to get a nice gap on Reisinger with Lee Warner in 3rd, and they have a nice gap over 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Both the Ryan brothers and Sean Bonet have now settled out their battle, and out of all of that commotion and all of that action, their positions have remained the same. And it's funny how that all works out, too. But Connor Ryan has now lost a little bit of ground to his brother Eamon Ryan. He was not playing a pretty nice ball with his own brother trying to make his way through. He's got his own race to take care of. So Connor Ryan now going to have to go back to battling against his brother Eamon Ryan if he wants to go get the top 2.
I think he may have made those tires a little angry driving so deep into those corners, and now he seems to be settling back into a good pace.
The core temperature, surface temperature of those tires have definitely increased, as well as the air pressure of, I'm sure, not just the tires themselves, but probably the driver's temper as well, too. So Connor Ryan now going to have to try to regroup, rebalance it, and try to go give it another go against his brother Eamon Ryan.
5 laps to go. Eli Dysart, Bob Reisinger, Lee Warner, 1st through 3rd. And a nice little gap of 2 seconds over Eamon Ryan in 4th. Connor Ryan right there in 5th, and Sean Bonet, Emmett Ryan, Louis Schreiber, Noel Saxon, Bruce Malter round out your top 10.
Connor had a really good turns 1 and 2 set of corners there. He finds himself already back on the back end of his brother Eamon Ryan. The gap was about 0.6 of a second when they crossed the start-finish line, but that 0.6 of a second gap is now already gone. Sean Bonet is off the race course. He has gone off wide at the exit of turn number 6 there. That's the 3rd car we have seen go off track there at the exit of turn number 6 in this race alone. So Bonet now trying to regroup the car, get it right back on the racetrack. Meanwhile, Connor Ryan has already gone past his brother Eamon Ryan as they went through turn number 8.
It looked like Sean Bonet had some mechanical trouble that forced him off. He'll try to limp it back to the pits and keep us under green. Meanwhile, up front, Eli Dysart gets that lead out by about 6 car lengths over Reisinger.
Time is now starting to run out for Connor Ryan. He has now got himself a little bit of clear track and a little bit of gap between himself and Lee Warner in front of him. Bit of an oversteer slide through turn number 11 there, able to hang on to the car. Now he's got to put his head down and try to go get Lee Warner if he wants a podium position.
Up front, Eli Dysart, 4 laps to go, continuing to lead the way over Reisinger. Was officially 0.8 of a second at the line. Lee Warner is 3.3 back in 3rd. Then Connor Ryan, Eamon Ryan, Emmett Ryan, 4th through 6th.
Another further battle further back between Noel Sachs and Bruce Malter has kind of heated up there as they come through turn number 13 and onto the front straightaway. That is the battle for 9th and 10th right now. Bruce Malter wants it. Noel Sachs has it as they come into turn number 1.
Up front, Eli Dysart continuing to show the way. Bob Reisinger trying to hold on now just to be happy and maybe content with 2nd place. Doesn't look like he has been able to close that gap on our leader.
I mean, for Bob Reisinger, this is great momentum building as he just turned his fastest lap of the race that last time by. Only 0.8 of a second gap, but to come away with the win last race and now come away potentially with a 2nd place this race, what a great way to start building some momentum as we now almost enter the halfway point of the season in this 2025 season.
I noticed the hairdo he had in Victory Lane last time out. Maybe it's the new hairdo.
The new hairstyle that he's brought in, you know, it's added a little bit more hairs and a little bit more encouragement to the seat of his pants, and he's now coming into turn number 11. He has significantly closed the gap up a little bit on the Eli Dysart. You could visually see the gap start to, you know, shrink a little bit there. But we'll have to see what the gap is next time by when they come across the line. It'll be 3 laps to go when they come across the line.
When you get out to what is a uncomfortable lead, but about 0.8 of a second, do you have a chance to kind of ease it off a little bit to try to cool down your tires, or just not enough time?
At this point of the race, I don't think you want to. You know, anything could happen at this point, and especially if something was to happen, let's say like a yellow was to come out, that's going to end this race. So I think you're full-on push the rest of the way, all the way till you can see that checkered flag. We saw the about the exact same lap times between Eli and Bob that last time out. Identical lap times, in fact, between the two, both running 140.3s. The gap relatively stays the same, but it has dropped down to now 0.7 of a second as one car goes a little wide here. That looks like it might be the 95. I believe that is Nolan Lehman. That we went a little bit wide there in turn number 11.
Up front, Eli Dysart continuing to show the way. Bob Reisinger had kind of gotten that gap a little bit closer, but every time he starts to gain, we see Eli Dysart kind of spread that lead back out a little bit.
He definitely does extend the gap ever so slightly, and Bob is slowly trying to regroup himself back in, but a mistake from here on out may cost him dearly. We have now seen the gap exploit a little bit there. It's now definitely going to be over a second if they come across the start-finish line right now, but Connor Ryan is now in hot pursuit of Lee Warner as his next target is right in front of him.
Eli Dysart has been the smoothest through the corners all race long, and that's why he's been able to build these little gaps. But boy, oh boy, that 3rd through 5th battle is certainly heating up.
We definitely have been able to see, you know, the consistency between Eli Dysart and Bob Reisinger, the difference between the two. You also see the difference between the Ryan brothers as now, you know, Connor Ryan has definitely turned the wick up in terms of his lap times. He's run a 139.7 compared to Lee Warner, who just ran a 140.8, almost a full second faster than Lee Warner, and he's on the hot tail as a back bumper of Lee Warner right now.
Eli Dysart with about an 8-car length advantage. In second, it's Bob Reisinger. Then Lee Warner, Connor Ryan, and Eamon Ryan tight in a pack for 3rd through 5th. They've gotten a nice gap over 6th place Emmett Ryan. Then Louis Schreiber, Sean Benet, Noel Saxon, Bruce Malter round out your top 10, and they will get the white flag this time by.
Lee Warner now has himself a handful with that number 09 machine of his Spec Miata as they come into turn number 8. Really hanging that car out as much as he can. The rear end sliding out on him on corner entry, just trying to hold on to the rear end of that car to not let it get away from him. He just dropped 2 wheels as they came out of turn number 6, allowed Connor Ryan to get onto his back end. Now can we expect Connor Ryan to get a good drive off of turn number 10 and make a battle and make a move into turn number 11?
Last time down this long back stretch before our final lap, they're going to have to sort it out here coming to the white flag. Working through 11, Connor Ryan cannot get the advantage there over 3rd place Lee Warner.
The gap has significantly dropped now between Bob Reisinger and Eli Dysart. Dysart must have made a mistake somewhere along the line. The gap is now back to 0.7 of a second. Bob Reisinger has just now set his fastest lap of the race. Connor Ryan thinking of move to the inside, thinks better of it, falls back in line behind Lee Warner, but now he busts a move to the inside.
Had the best corner there in 1, and it helps him out through 2, but Lee Warner now goes a little wide. Connor Ryan right on his back bumper.
As they come through turn number 4 right now, Lee Warner able to extend the gap ever so slightly there. He drops a wheel off of turn number 4 there, keeps it going, but even Connor Ryan now all over the back end, looks to make a move going into turn number 6.
Connor Ryan will get it done this time, has the inside line. Can he make it stick?
Side by side out of turn number 6 now. Connor Ryan holding to the bottom, has the preferred lines. They go through the kink of turn number 7. Lee Warner going to have to be very aggressive and late on the brakes here if he wants to make this move stick. It's not going to happen. Give the move to Connor Ryan. He's now up into a podium position.
But he does hold off Eamon Ryan for 4th place.
Connor Ryan now holds the gap. Lee Warner right there in the 4th spot. He looks to get a good drive. Lee Warner has been the better driver and gets normally the better exits out of turn number 10, heading down the back straightaway into turn number 11. Reisinger tries to make a peek to the inside of Eli Dysart, but it's not able to work.
Into 11 for the last time. Eli Dysart on the lead, but the battle's for 3rd.
Little bit of contact there, looks like, from Lee Warner. He locked the brakes up. Now he has the inside line. Can he make it stick? Can he hold it off? Eli going to come across the line. He'll take the win. Reisinger will come home in 2nd. The battle for the podium spot here. Lee Warner has it coming off the final corner, and Lee Warner is going to get it away from Connor Ryan and Eamon Ryan.
Lee Werner with a fantastic final lap holds off the Ryans for 3rd place in that final podium spot. Connor Ryan made an impressive run through the field, but just time ran out on him, and I think the tires ran out on him too, because everything seemed to equalize. Lee Werner ended up getting the best of him on that final lap. But your winner up front, the 28 of Eli Dysart, the 808 of Bob Reisinger coming home in 2nd. Lee Werner in the 09 was 3rd. 119 of Connor Ryan finished in 4th, coming all the way from the back. The 225 of Eamon Ryan rounds out your top 5.
Lee Warner had to be really aggressive there on the brakes going into turn 11 on that final time, and he sure was. Even locking up the right front tire coming into the corner. At one point there, I didn't think he was going to get the car to stop, and I thought he was going to go over into the side of Connor Ryan there, and Eamon Ryan potentially had a shot at a podium there. But really well done by Lee Warner to control that right front tire, able to unlock it, get the car slowed down enough, make the corner happen, get alongside Connor Ryan, and be able to drag race him basically into turn number 13 to where he had the advantage and just hold him off to come back from a podium. That, my friend, is how you go from having it to losing it to having it back in your possession again.
All in the course of about a half a lap out here.
Yeah.
How impressive that was. Connor Ryan looked like he had the better of Lee Werner, but Lee Werner said, "Not today, kid.
Yep.
I'm taking this final podium place." Let's catch you down through the rest of this field. In 6th place, it was Emmett Ryan. 7th place, the 111 of Louis Schreiber. In 8th, it was Sean Benet. And in 9th, Bruce Malter. Noel Sachs rounds out your top 10.
Joe Mikolos will come home in the 11th position. Thomas Greenwood will come home in 12th. Jeff Newman in the 229 finishes off 13th. Dave Martinelli going to finish in the 14th spot with Mark Stadolski running in 16th. Donovan Lehman going to come home in the 16th position. Noel Sachs finishes 17th. Gary Traverso puts his best lap at the last lap, finishing 18th. Tim Milne will come home in 19th, and Brad Jones will round out the top 20.
21st was Randy Cochran. He'll be the last car to finish on the lead lap. Then it was Andre Van Vuren, 5 laps back in 22nd. Norm Malter in 23rd, Jason Greenwood in 24th, and Bill Hamill will get credit for 25th and last. But your winner, Eli Dysart, holding off a hard-charging Bob Reisinger, with Lee Werner making the pass of the race to close out 3rd place. What a fantastic day of racing we had out here at the Audubon Country Club.
Lots of fantastic side-by-side battles and fantastic racing, and a lot of good stories that are going to be told later tonight at our Wings and Wheels event that's going to be taking place at the Louis Joliet Airport in just maybe a couple hours' time. But nonetheless, a lot of fantastic battles that will be cherished throughout the paddock and many others throughout the rest of this year.
Our winners for the Spec Miata class and the SM2 class will be down at the podium, and Jordan is heading down there now to bring us all of that excitement. Jordan, what a fun time we had calling these 2 Miata races today.
It was a time had by all for sure in that case, and we're not done yet. We've only had 5 races on the year. We can expect a lot more to come out throughout the course of the season, as we're still under the full season, and we still got our championship battles going all the way potentially towards the end of the season in October.
Dysart, Reisinger, and Ryan were 1, 2, and 3 in points, and boy, that's not going to change, but they're going to get a little gap over 4th and 5th in points. What an impressive race out here at the Audubon Country Club. And why don't you head on down? We'll catch you from the podium. What a pleasure working with you today, young man. Oh, my goodness, folks. I'm telling you, this Audubon member racing, very exciting here on your YouTube channel, and we'll have more races throughout the year here to come. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the podium celebrations here from the Audubon Country Club.
We're here at the acclaimed Daytona International Speedway to show the Blazer EVSS in a way it's never been seen. It's beautiful with a sleek and dynamic design, but performance is in our DNA. And what better way to put the Blazer EVSS to the paces than having Team Chevy NASCAR drivers Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain get behind the wheel?
She looks fast.
Sure does.
You want to see what she's got?
Let's go.
All right. Yoo-hoo!
This is a Blazer EVSS. Let's see what Wild Mode can do.
Let's go. Yes! So much torque.
This is what performance sounds like.
What a ride. You think the Cup car will be that smooth? My turn to drive.
From 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. Experience the sound of performance.
Yeah, I was definitely faster than Daniel.
At Lexus, our motto is you have to feel it to believe it. Experience the exhilaration of the Lexus Performance line.
Hey there, welcome to Audubon Racehouse. Did you know that racehouse rooms are available for members and guests to rent? With 3 bedrooms with ensuite bathrooms, a common area with a pool table and poker table, whether you're kicking back on the patio or sitting at the bar, Audubon Racehouse has everything you need to extend your time at the club. For more information or to make your reservation, contact Aaron at AudubonCC.com.
Welcome back to Audubon Country Club Member Racing, where we just concluded the second of two terrific races today. And of course, remember, you can be part of the fun. Head over to AudubonCC.com. Hey, this is the place that started it, folks. They started this country club craze over 20 years ago. Just keeps getting better and better out here at Audubon Country Club. Let's go down to the podium with Jordan.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get started with our podium ceremonies. We're going to go ahead and get started with Spec Miata 2. Coming home in third place with an excellent dive bomb into turn number 11, the 09 of Lee Warner. Coming home in second, he was the winner in the last race, comes home second today, 808 of Bob Reisinger. And coming home with the win, had a clutch issue in qualifying, but turns it into a race win, the 28th, Eli Dysart. We'll move on to our Spec Miata podium that we had earlier today. Coming home in third with the nice run from the 69 of Jake Bolter. Finishing second with a hard-fought battle was the 157 of Matt Alexander. And your winner today led all 22 laps, the number 60 of Taro Kushida. That wraps up the podium ceremonies. We'll throw it back to Dennis and Kyle.
What a terrific day of racing here at the Audubon Country Club, and nothing better than to celebrate down on the podium with the winners and the top three finishers. Jordan doing a great job down there. And what a fantastic day of racing that we had. We saw two thrilling races, and we saw two thrilling races that are going to really have a fun time with our point standings here in member racing out here at the Audubon Country Club. Remember, that was just race 5, folks, of 14. So it's going to be a great season of racing. So that's going to wrap it up for us from here at Audubon Country Club. Head on over to AudubonCC.com. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and like here on the YouTube channel as well. And thanks to all of our great sponsors. I want to thank Race Caddy and First Bank Card Processing for doing the sponsored duties here in both the Spec Miata and the SM2 class. So for the best crew in racing and for my co-host up here in the booth, Jordan Missig, this is Dennis Michelson thanking you for tuning in to Audubon Member Racing. We'll catch you in a couple of weeks.